What's going on, guys? So today's video is going to be all about General Skywalker. So most of you guys probably have just unlocked him for the second time the event has come around, and I want to try to give you guys some guidance for what I've been using personally and what I find to be some of the best ways to utilize your new GS in arenas, grand arenas, kind of like the whole entire game with like the mods and such. It's not going to be a whole video about the entire or the 501st faction with the clones. It's really going to hit up on the parts with GS, General Skywalker, Zeta Order, his modding, and the bare minimum you need him to be to make him function at his fullest potential. So let's get into it, guys. So this is General Skywalker. He is a leader, 501st, Galactic Republic, and Jedi. So this guy is just he's a beast. He is, and people think that he is just absolutely useless until you get him 7 or max out Relic 7, 7-star or Relic 7 rather. But he's good, and he has uses everywhere in the game. He still does. The only thing that he's lacking is his extreme durability and then his additional damage from Relic 7. But from his leadership, he does gain, or no, where is it? It's actually this one right here. Oh my gosh, no, it's Hero with No Fear. He does gain some more max protection and defense, and making him as tanky as he can be, and he's still a tanky dude at 6-star or 5-star. So mine right now is almost 7-star, so this is a perfect time for me to make a video on this before I get him 7-star here soon. So mine is 6-star, gear 11. I haven't had too much luck when he's gear 10 or lower than gear 11. Gear 11, I think you got to have him there for him to be actually usable in some of this stuff. But if you guys want to go over the Zeta order first, well, it's quite simple. In these different counters, you need some specific Zetas. So just like all around use, though, you really only need one Zeta, and that one Zeta, I would say, is Hero with No Fear. This is the most important Zeta. It would, for me at least, I would say this is a requirement for your GS to actually be usable. So with the Zeta, you get 100% counter chance, 50% critical chance as well. So two things: more counter chance, so you're going to be countering all the time, and a lot of more critical chance. But the caveat here is that you have to have a full team of 501st. If you don't have a full team of 501st, it's not going to be happening. And this still does work in 3-3 scenarios where everybody is 501st on your team. But you need this to pretty much just counter all the time, and with the counters critting all the time and increasing their cooldowns, because on this other unique, whenever he does crit, it increases their cooldowns by 1. And that's a huge thing. So for sure, the required one I would say here for the Zetas is Hero with No Fear. You just need it for this guy to be really functional. So now we're getting into the counters, and specific counters I would say that you kind of need other Zetas here. So the one I use the most is the Darth Revan counter and countering Malik's. So if you guys didn't know, Malik has no protection whatsoever, and he is a tanky guy. So what we do here, this Zeta is very, very important. This one, the chosen one, other unique, pretty much when there is no protection on the target and he uses any attacks, it reduces their max HP rather by 20% for the rest of the battle, and it cannot be resisted. So this is a must-have in the Mallet counters, and making sure that you can just melt through people. And you can even get to points where you can just melt through like a Bas Lashan as well, or a Darth Revan. But for sure, to help melt through Malix, you really need a Zeta. So far, you only really need 2 Zetas. And outside of the Mallet counters, this is going to be great versus a Grievous team. Pretty much any other team that is just super tanky, and you make them lose all their protection, and you just hit their HP. You're going to lower their HP even more so and make it a lot easier for you to kill them. So for sure, the 2 Zetas, if you're looking at countering Malix, you need at least those 2 uniques. So the next 2, he has 4 Zetas, by the way. He has those 2 uniques, he has a leadership, and he has a basic Zeta. The next one, guys, and I don't even think you need this one. This one is on his basic. This one makes him and allows him to use telekinesis for his second turn, because if you guys didn't know, General Skywalker can use 2 moves, or two attacks rather, in the same turn. So with his Zeta, you are allowed to use this ability called Telekinesis. It's pretty much critically hits with Armor Shred, and if the target is dazed, reduces his cooldowns by 1, which is great. I'm not saying this is an awful Zeta, but if you don't Zeta this, it'll do you just as fine. You're not going to lose out anything huge here. It's actually can be kind of beneficial for you in some aspects, because if you're running a team with Echo, which you should be running a team with Echo with 501st, your Echo can actually assist twice because it's actually using 2 basics. This Telekinesis is actually called a special attack. It's not a basic. So it's actually going to be doing 2 Echo assists. But if you're running Ahsoka here and you use this and you Zeta this, then she'll be called into assist. But without it, you're going to have 2 Echo assists. So it's kind of like, would you rather have 2 Echo assists or 1 Echo assist with an Ahsoka assist? Which you can get a Dispel in there, but to me, it's not that important. It really isn't. So even then, it's not that important. So if you were to go all out on this guy and you're trying to figure out the order, you want to go for Hero with No Fear first, then the Chosen One, then Furious Slash, and then last but not least is his Leadership Zeta. This is not a great Zeta, guys. The only aspects I find this to be useful in is in teams where they're trying to counter your 501st. This is what you need for like defensive kind of comps to make sure that your team kind of holds better in arena. So like Padme's, like the CLS teams, any team that is buff heavy, you want to make sure that you gain a lot of extra offense. But guess what? If you're just trying to use this team to counter other teams, you do not need this whatsoever. It is really, really useless. But if you're trying to go all out on your GS team, then yeah, for sure, go for the leadership. But to conclude the Zeta order, you need to have, first and foremost, Hero with No Fear, then the Chosen One, then Furious Slash, and then the leadership. But if you really want to just play basic, bare bones, what you need a bare minimum for, you just need Hero with No Fear. Everything else can be kind of good, but in specific scenarios. If I were you guys, I would just go for Hero with No Fear, and if you were to go to counter Malik's, then I would go for the Chosen One to reduce Malik's HP. So, there you guys go. That is the Zeta order, in my opinion. Alright, so next up on the list I want to go over for today, which, yes, is his modding. So, we're really going to hit up on the 5 or 6 star mods, but I will briefly go over how I will mod mine at 7 star with relics. Because with relics you do get a huge influx of defense, armor, like all that stuff, making him tanky, more protection, HP, and of course the offense. But for 5 and 6 star guys, just go for protection. You want this guy to have as much protection as you possibly can. Because like we said, with the Hero with No Fear, you get even more max protection with other 501st allies. So, with that being said, you want to max out his protection as much as possible. Like, I'm talking going for protection arrows, going for protection cross, or for, what is that? Triangle, there you go. I know my shapes, guys. And crosses and circles. Literally everything here is protection. The thing that I feel like you kind of need, though, with GS at lower star is you do need him to hit somewhat hard. Nothing crazy, though, right? You just need him to do some damage to lower some people to a good amount. Like, for example, the Malik counter, you want to have him hit somewhat hard. So that's why I went and opted for a crit damage set with HP. So I still think that a crit damage set is very optimal for this team when you're running him versus other teams in arena at lower star. But yeah, just go for as much protection as possible. You want to go for as much protection as possible because for other counters, like we're talking about like Padme with Courage and CLS with Exposes, those Exposes and Courage damage hits, they deal max percentage to your HP. And when you're moving him to a lot of protection mods, they're not going to do as much damage. So with protection, not only are you going to gain more protection with the unique, but you're going to make it so the counters like the Padme and CLS are going to be a lot harder for them to kill you. So that's probably the 2 big things you want to mod him for. You don't need him to be fast whatsoever. With Rex on your team, he will make it so that he will go first as long as your Rex is fast enough. And like I said, if you want to go for crit damage, feel free to. I just went for crit damage because it kind of helps with lowering some people to the right amount. Don't worry too much about offense. And don't worry too much about, you know, the armor here. If you guys can, try to get a little bit more crit chances just to make sure that with his unique for the 50% critical chance, that you can make sure that he has 100% just to make sure and ensure that he crits all the time. So this is how I would mod my GS at 5 or 6 star. And now for the 7-star versions with some relics, I would mod them totally different. So with relics, you guys know, you get a lot more durability and especially a lot more offense. So what we're going to try to go for here is, what I'm going to go for at least is, I'm going to go for my GS to make him as tanky as possible. So I'm talking like an entire defense set with a lot of extra, you know, defense and protection, just to make sure that he's as tanky as I can possibly get him. I wouldn't even go for any HP sets because I do not want to have him get any extra HP, if that makes sense, for, like we were mentioning earlier, the exposes and the courage hits to deal more damage. And this makes it, with the extra defense and protection, it makes it so he's going to be a lot harder to take down, and the clones will be able to do a lot more hits. And he'll be able to live a little bit longer before he goes into cover. And then when he gets back up out of cover, then he's going to be as tanky as he used to be, and, you know, as before. So I think, you know, just a bunch of defense sets here, mods for defense. I would even probably opt for some tenacity, a little bit of tenacity, nothing any crazy tenacity, or also go for some critical chance mods. But that's probably going to be out of the picture because, you know, with Relic 7, you're going to be fine. So don't even worry about really crit chance there. I would really just go for defense and maybe some potency, actually, because you do want to land some debuff, some of your dazes as well. So really defense, and if you want to throw in a potency set there, but make sure, like I said, you want to make sure that he has max protection. And honestly, don't even worry about giving him crit damage here at all, because you just want him here in this team to be a massive, massive tank. You want him to be tanking the entire time. You don't really care too much about his big, huge damage because your clones are there to deal that damage. Your Echo and your 5s and even your Ahsoka or Arc Trooper will do that big damage. He is just here to tank and tank good. So that's how I think you would want to mod your GS with 7-star. And to wrap things up, guys, how about we just show you what he kind of looks like with 6-star versus general or versus a Darth Revan team. So if you guys are interested, let me know. Would you guys like for me to make an entire video about how to rock these guys with a 6-star GS? Because there's a little bit more to it with the modding of, you know, Ahsoka, 5s, Rex, and Echo. But this is really just, this video right here for today is just to show you guys how it looks like and how he looks like at only 6-star or 5-star. This should work just as fine at 5-star. So we got a little bit unlucky here with what's her name, Bastila, but we should be okay still. As long as they kill, you know, either Rex or Echo first, we'll be totally fine. Cause guess what? They sacrifice, or rather, he sacrifices. 5s does. Okay, so here we go. He's gonna come out. We're gonna try to kill Bastila, because if you don't kill Bastila fast enough, then you're gonna not look good. But yeah, this is, so like I said, going over the Zetas here, you really need his Hero with No Fear to make sure that he gets a little bit more counter chance and crit chance, and also versus this Malak and this Malak counter in particular, you gotta have that other Zeta to reduce his max HP versus Malak's. You have to have that. But you don't really need the Zeta basic, and you don't really need the leadership here, guys. As you can see here, we pretty much beat this. Our Zeta on the basic didn't do much, and our leadership Zeta didn't do anything either. So it's just the uniques coming into play here, guys. That's all it is. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed the video for today, give it a like, share it around, and if you guys are new here to the channel, please feel free to give it a like, or please feel free to sub, and you know, stay tuned in for a lot of these other videos, because I do a lot of videos on this game. But that's it for today. Just some GS going over his Zeta order, I would say, and his modding for either 5 or 6, and also 7-star, and, you know, wrap it up with that little battle there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it for today, and I will see you guys all later.